Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Thursday, February 10, and starting with the ASX on the daily chart here. You can see the stochastics down the bottom here as an indicator that is reaching extremes. So that would also be in line with our wave 1 topping out here, and that would also be in line with the S&P 500 and the stocks that are leading that charge, like Apple as well. So I've got it coming to the 3-1 here, 7,300. It could certainly go higher than that. We'll take a closer look at that. But at the same time, I think the most important thing here we've got long trades in the market, and we have to consider how we're going to exit those situations. Now, a trailing stop is always a good stop. However, selling into the trend is also a good way to take profits rather than being stopped out, at a low price that you're not happy with. So, it's a bit of a balance of everything, and you can also scale out as well. But you can see by the indicator here that hasn't turned. There's still further highs to be made. But at the same time, we're coming close to that. And we can also see too that the 3,700, even if the price does go above it, if it goes to 7,350 or 30 or whatever, it's going to come back to this level. We can see how important that number is here. It's also the top of minor group 1 of the 7,000. So if we do get a tested support on this level, then we know that we're leaving the 7,000 and we're going higher. We know we've left the 7,000 anyway. We've already, we've got long trades in here, but it is another step to the upside. And it is where the supply begins, means sellers at that point. So that's where we need to be careful at. I've done my best to count 5 waves up here, and I have lined it up with the S&P and the Apple and those sort of things, because in the off hours it will be pulled in that direction. Now, so look, I don't have it. It's not perfect, the count that I've got up, and it can easily be wrong, but I do know that we need to look at some way of locking in profits, and we can have a look at the count as well. So the wave count that I've got here is very similar to the US markets, in that we've got this low down here as the low, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then counting 5 waves up here. Now, counting this 5 waves up here really makes it's kind of extended up here, hasn't it? So it really makes a case for a good third wave to move up here. So, if I have made a mistake, we could label it wave 1 over here and wave 2 here, and then this wave 1 here and 2 to here, and then this third wave up here. But even if this third wave is up here, then we would still have a wave 4, would have this wave 4 pullback in this space here anyway. So the count up here, I'm okay with wave 1 and 2 here, and I'm sort of okay with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up here. So I'm thinking that we're heading into the third wave here, and then the fourth wave here, and then the fifth wave here. Now, whatever it is up here, we're going into even internal structures below these green ones here. We'd be going into wave 4s and 5s. So we've had our wave 3, so we've had our wave 1s and 2s, and now we're going into 4s and 5s and 4s and 5s. So we can expect corrections to be more sideways and so on, a bit more complicated. So it's probably not good idea to do too much trading in that area, or at least not with large position sizes. And what I've been harping on about with global markets really is this ABC correction to come back here. Where it comes back to, that's another task that we need to evaluate. But this wave 3 moving up here is the one that we want at that point in time. Like I said, can we put wave 2 over here, and will we make a mistake, and the market just keeps going straight up? Well, we need to, have a strategy for that as well. So one step at a time. If we just move into the 1 hour chart. So yeah, as I've mentioned before, I've got a count where this blue wave 3 can sit over here where this is here, and that would kind of make sense because it's a big complicated wave 4 there. But I'm not too fussed. If I'm one wave out, I'm sort of okay with that. So we've been building in all these positions here and been trailing the stop up, and I had a trading stop up here, and I thought to myself, well, what would be a good stop loss here? So this is the hourly chart here, and I was thinking that as soon as we get a close on the hourly chart below this red line here, then we can get out at that point, and that would give us a reasonable chance to get a little bit higher. I think it's also a good idea too if we can get closer to this wave 3 top here and take a percentage off the table selling into the trend, so to speak. This wave 4 here, well, we can take wherever that top is here from this wave 2 here, wherever that top is here, and you can do that, then the wave 4 can pull back to the 38.2%. It may not pull that far back, but it may do that. And I think the thin red line here would save us from that thing. And you know, if that is a wave 4 here and we're going to go up for a wave 5, we probably won't go up too far because the extension's in wave 3, and that would leave wave 1 here, the length of wave 1, roughly the length of wave 5 that we'd be looking for over here with that. Now this is a bit too short, and depends how that drops back here, and we may need to use another Fibonacci extension like 61.8% of the length of wave 3 here for the length of wave 5. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're better off just counting lines here. My main situation here is to protect our profits. So I'm putting this red line in here. If you've got a better plan, well, that's fantastic. This is just one idea, so it doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, we need to protect it. And also too, when we're looking at 7,300 here, as I mentioned, that's the top of minor group 1, and that's really quite important. So I'm thinking over here, if I can draw, we'll have the arrival that could take us past the level, or right on it, and then we'll have a reaction at this level, and that will be the wave 4, this wave 4, and then we'll have the first high above the level, which will be the wave 5, and then we'll have our correction at that point. And it's this correction that we don't want to be holding longs into, and you know, we kind of want to get out on this wave 4 as well, because it'll just be a headache. You know, we've got some nice profits there, we don't want to see those disappear. So you know, taking a percentage into at 7,300 or 7,320 or 30, somewhere in there, it would be a good idea to take a little bit off, you know, because then that would lighten the burden a little bit. And it's good practice selling into a trend as well. You don't always get the top, but sometimes it's better than getting stopped out, and it keeps you in control of what you're doing, and you can be satisfied at that point. So yeah, so there we go, really. So yeah, this will be wave 4 over here, this will be wave 5 over here, and that would make this wave 5 top here, and then wave 1 at this point. So that's what we're looking at, and this is exactly what we're looking at with the S&P and Apple and so on. So it's probably, you know, a reasonable chance. Now, if I'm wrong, well, then all we'll be doing later on is going long above this high over here, this second high here. But if it's pulling back as an ABC correction here, then we'll be looking at this here as a 5-wave structure, a 3-wave structure, and a 5-wave structure here. And it can pull back 50-60%. At least we can look at pulling back 40% at least, you know. So even if we take this low to this high here, just imagining that we've got this, take it to 7.4 perhaps, then we're still, the 50-60% is down here. So it's a long way down, isn't it? You know, even if we go 40% here, it's still, you know, 7,150. It's still a long way down. Maybe we just go to the 72. I mean, the 72 is really important, because in the bigger picture, if we go back to the monthly chart here for a moment, we have to remember that, we probably don't remember, but 7,200 was this high just here. That was the top of the COVID high. So really what we're seeing here is we're seeing the market sort of vibrate at this old high here. So that's 7,200, and you know I like 72, that, you know, that could be the place that we're looking at where, you know, the market has had this correction here, moves up here as wave one, and then come back and just touches it nicely and then moves up again from that point. You know, that would make sense in the bigger picture. Anyway, just shooting the breeze. Anything can happen really, but that's such a nice story. So let's go back to the 4-hour chart and just maybe the hourly chart and just sort of understand here. So basically what we're trying to do is take some money off the table at the top of wave 3. We've got that thin red line that comes through here. That's going to save us from coming back into wave 4. Now we can go from wave 4 up to wave 5, especially if we have a deep correction here, then it'll be worth trading up to wave 5, and we'll do that, and then we'll get out as a bit of a trade, and we could, you know, poke around the markets a little bit, but we don't want to get burnt, and we're really looking for this move back here. If we get a tested support on top of the 7,300 as a nice classic trading levels pattern, well then we will you know, we'll look to go long at that point. So we'll just take that to the 7.2 there. We talked about that a bit more, so that could play out quite nicely with all of this. So it just really depends on, you know, when it pulls back, it just depends on, you know, what other news is going on at the time and what the sentiment is and all sorts of things. Okay, so moving on, let's have a look at CBA, which had a bit of an earnings report and popped up 5%. So that was a bit of a whammy. Let's just go straight to the tick chart. I want to have a look at this. I haven't looked at this, so I need to assess the situation. I mean, we expected it to move up. I didn't know it was doing its earnings. I'm not a full book on keeping up to date with all the news of things. I just do patterns, which I should really make an effort and do that. But okay, so what we need to look at here is we need to basically count this to the upside. I mean, obviously it's got you know, some space missing inside it here, but we can still make a bit of a go at it, and it should be quite, I wonder if we need to look at that. So, I mean, do I include that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then going up for wave 5 here to have that? I think we do, because then that way it would be in line with the normal market. So that can be, we've got that as an A wave, a B wave, and we can look at it as a C wave up here for that, and then that would be the top of the rally. I mean, we're expecting it to go to, you know, this level here, but obviously we always gravitate to the closest largest number. So it'll do a little bit of a dance here, and I think that what we can do, let's just imagine that that sort of moves up there and comes back here eventually for wave 4 and then has a wave 5 up here. So then we could kind of consider this this whole move up here as, I will know when it gets to 5 waves, because I'll just need to resolve that, and I'll see if I've counted it right, because I've either got wave 3 here or I've got wave 3 over here. It's one of these. But when I see more of the structure, it'll become obvious. So, but the main point here I'm trying to say is that anything above this here, and we can look to go long, but if it's in line with the S&P 500 and the ASX 200, and we get to the top of that wave 1 that we're looking at, you know, so to speak, well then, and we do pull back, well, will this pull back? I mean, will this give us a move down here? Will we end up with, let's go to the daily chart for a moment. Because there's two things that we're looking at here, if you remember. We're looking at the situation where where we could have an A and a B and a C wave, and then we just continue straight up. And if that's the case, we'll look for a long trade on here, and we'll you know, go on that journey. The other point that we could look at is that this whole move here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here as a wave 2. This could all just be wave 1 here, go back for wave 2, and then have a 3, 4, and 5 here for this, and then go up. And this would be that, because that would make that wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's not that silly, because on the ASX that we're looking at, the market's gone up for wave 1, and we're looking for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to come back. So that would be 3 waves to come back. So that would be 3 waves here as well. So that's possible. So I don't know what's going to occur here, but at some point when it matures, we'll go, oh, okay, that's what it is, and then we'll know what to do. So we will know what to do if this becomes the support up here, and we'll go long from that point. And the road is long, because we'll be looking going from 100 to 150 at least, you know. So it doesn't matter. We just don't need to be chopped up in the meantime with all of this. So we'll just let this run its course, and we'll pick up the thread when we need to. The resources. So let's have a look at iron ore. As I mentioned, iron ore is just going to, well, at a guess, just be flickering around the 800 for a while. So I'm just going to let it do that. We know that, you know, if we're looking at this move up here as 5 waves, we know that the other markets, BHP and all that, are going up to its 5 waves over here, and also pulling back for wave 2. So that's a little bit interesting, isn't it? You know, so really BHP is sort of, you know, in line with some of the other markets around the world. So this market here could also push up a little bit higher here. We could look at this as 1 and 2, and then 1. This doesn't kind of look finished here. So yeah, you know, it could push up here, and then have, we're looking for this correction here basically. And when we look at BHP, that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to start with US BHP, the ADR here, and I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit now. So I don't know if this wave 4 is finished not here or yet, but then we'll go up for wave 5, and then we're going to pull back for wave 4, and then we're going to go up for wave 5 here. Don't need that. And then that will be wave 5 here, and then that will be wave 1 here, and then we'll be pulling back for wave 2, wherever that may be. So that's really the same as the ASX. So that's all pretty handy, isn't it? So we're coming up here somewhere, we're coming back here, we're coming up here, and then we'll have some sort of correction here. Also at 72. That's where that will play out on the US BHP, of course. So then we go to our local BHP, which is here, and it's the same thing again, isn't it? So we're just tracking 5 waves up here. As I mentioned before, it's like this is wave 1 here, 2 here, probably 3, probably the 4 here, or maybe a bit higher, I don't know, and then shooting up here. Don't care. It's basically going up here somewhere, and then we'll be looking at this ABC pattern here. How far will it pull back? Not sure. Doesn't really matter, but that's basically where we are, and it's where we're going. So we'll pick it up at this wave 2 over here. But yeah, that's all pretty sort of simple at that point, isn't it? So we know we're starting to know where we are now with all of this, and the trade that we're looking for is this wave 2 pullback here. I mean, the annoying thing about the markets is that, you know, there can be a situation where there's no trades, and then suddenly there's everything to trade, you know, so consider that carefully and choose what you need to do carefully. So it's no point in going into BHP, Rio and FMG all together, is it? You know, you may as well be on some in the banking side as well, like kind of, you know, hedge your bets a little bit, you know. But anyway, yeah, so diversification works up till about 18 different stocks. After that, there's no point. Okay, so let's go and have a look at Rio and FMG. They'll be the same, but in their own ways. So Here, this is Rio here, so we're looking at the same thing here as well, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming up here, we got 1 and 2 and 3. So they're all really similar, you know. If you're long in these markets, we can talk about when to get out, but we're getting close. So a few more sessions, and you really want to be out at that point, you know. I mean, we're at the 61.8% here, so it's going to think. So you can basically look to take profits in these somewhere in this space, really, and we'll look to get back in over here. As if you want to get out, you know, you may not want to get out, but you could probably expect to spend a bit of time over here with this here. If this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. So we could probably expect 20 days here, maybe, you know, just at a rough call. But I know with Rio and FMG and that, we built in a lot of trades like early in the piece on the tick chart. If you've still got those, then you need to consider, you know, you might want to take off 50% and put them back in over here, and, you know, and it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. But once you've got profit banked in, you know, we do our best to get it right, and we will focus on this a lot over here. But yeah, taking 70% off, 80%, do whatever you need to do. It's tricky getting out and getting back in, but we'll be focused on it and we'll be all over it. So that will be our game plan. Okay, so with Fortescue as well. Fortescue's kind of got its own little sort of thing happening with this, so it'll push up a little bit more as well. I'm just going to remove these here now, and I'll just leave that there for the time being, so I know that that's where we are with that thing. Will we push up here? We talked about a high here and a high up here. I suppose that if BHP's got a bit more to climb, then we could climb higher at this point. I don't know. But if you're long in this, you do not want this market coming back down to $20. You'd need to be out at that point, because then we would need to drag that down here. This can be wave 1 here and 2 and continue higher at that point. It's hard to say. It looks like it's got 5 waves here. That's why I probably put the 5 wave structure there. So I don't know about this one too much, but anyway, it's a great stock to hold, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's got a great dividend and all the rest of it. So the Australian dollar, we're tightening up on this now. So I want to put the stop under this last low here. I think I may have done that already, but we'll just double check. So it looks like there's, I mean, we're at the 72 again. What's the rule? 72's day, isn't it? So this 72 here, I think that we should be, I mean, look, the thing about this is it's really a commodity dollar. We know that the commodities are topping out, so it's probably, you know, a good time to lock in profit, because we've built in some long trades here, and there's a bit of equality between this length and this length. I can see that we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 here, and probably, depending on where you put wave 4 here, but it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're probably at the top of this market already. We're going to go to the tick chart here, 100 ticks. And if the 72 becomes the support, well, then we can go long again from that point, right? So you can see how close I've got the stop here now. I'm locking right in there. So let's 200. Okay, so yeah, so I was thinking of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now, I did rush this count. It's probably not right. And if I take it from here and look at this as 1 and 2, and then I'll need to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave in here. And then you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Now, I could count this differently here, of course. I always go really conservative, but I could put wave 4 here as well and look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave. So we can extend it higher, but look, we've got a lot on the table here, and we just need to lock it in. So I'm just doing it here. If it moves up here, then taking profit at the 72 would be a nice thing to do. Okay, that would be good. But there's going to be some type of correction here. You can see that it sold off already before it got there. So yeah, we could squeeze another. I mean, look, this doesn't look, I suppose it could be bearish in terms of down for 1, ABC for 2, down for 1, and then correction thing anything and just drop down from here, but it looks it doesn't look like it wants to go down basically, so we'll see how that goes. But either get stopped out here or take profit up here, and then we're going to look at what we've got at that point. And we'll need to look at the bigger picture, because it's there's a few big accounts going on, a few different possibilities. I knew what's going on internally, so that was okay, we could trade this, but beyond that, we need to stop and pause and reassess, and then make another plan. Alrighty, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.